Next year is going to be the year of bots. Just put your head around having a supercomputer that is able to read millions and millions of books and remember every single word inside of those books. And now put that supercomputer buddy that knows everything basically that's public information inside of a humanoid bot that has limbs, arms, hands, and feet. And imagine the capabilities of what can happen. That's where we're headed.
They're way stronger, faster. They don't make mistakes the same way we do. There's no labor laws around the robot either.
Yeah.
24 hours or however long the battery life is, that's how long it can go, which is, I'll tell you, this seems scary to a lot of people. It seems exciting to you. What do you think the difference is? And how do we stay on the cutting edge so that we're somebody that's excited about it and not somebody that's worried about getting left behind?
Well, first of all, I think people should be worried, but you can do something about it.
So I'm thrilled today to have Brian Hanson as our guest. If you guys don't know Brian, he's worked with some of the biggest names in the industry and the marketing space, and he is a leader in the AI space right now with all the different things that he's been involved in. An absolutely brilliant mind, a humble person, and I'm thrilled to have Brian. I've learned so much from him in the AI and automation space. So without further ado, here's our guest, Brian Hanson. Brian, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me, Patric. I'm really excited to be here.
Yeah, I'm super excited to have you on here. We were just talking a little bit before we started. Every time I talk to you, I'm like, I've got to spend more time with Brian. So to be able to trap you into a conversation because you're on my podcast is great. But I'm also excited for everyone else to kind of see the brilliance and some of the amazing stuff you're working on. But before we jump into that, Brian, just give us a little bit of story. Who is Brian Hanson and how did you get here?
Yeah, so originally I'm from Iowa, so I lived in this
Midwest boy.
Yeah, and I always wanted to live in Florida actually since I was a little kid. So anyway, one day my boss at the time, she moved to Florida, started up down here, and she gave me a call. She's like, "Brian, how would you like to come work for me down here?" I was in my early 20s. I literally had a pawn shop come and buy all my stuff, including my bed. And the only reason I'm telling you this is because I didn't have like a big start or anything where I had a lot of capital. I didn't go to college. I literally was sleeping on the floor when I got here. And anyway, I met the right people on the way up. And I think that's a lot to do with a lot of things and why networking is so important. Masterminding with people is so important because that's where you make the biggest strides. You learn some stuff in school, obviously, but some of the biggest gains in business wise has just really been the connections I've made and the things that I've learned. I've always been a loopholes guy. Since I've been a little kid, even with my parents, I was trying to figure out loopholes, my teachers. And so I stumbled across AI, I kind of like anybody, I just started hearing about it. It was everywhere. And I just started playing around. This was before even ChatGPT came out. And I was just like, this is the future. I know this is going to be where we go. A lot of naysayers back then, when all of it just started, a lot of people thought it was going to go away. It wasn't that cool. And I saw something. As a loopholes guy, I'm like, this helps me get everything done faster. And the more time that went by, there's a saying in AI that today is the worst it's ever going to be. And you can say that every day because it just keeps getting faster. It keeps getting smarter and there keeps developing new tools. So you really don't know what's next. This happens to be the year of agents. So there's a lot of agent stuff getting built out where people can do tremendous things. But in the background, the stuff that we don't see, there's things that are much bigger. There's some out there that continue to say AI is going to replace just as many jobs as it takes. I'm not in the same belief as that. I think that there is going to be new jobs. It's going to be a lot fewer than the ones that get replaced. So you have to be focused in listening to what's happening and being ready to pivot. And there's almost something to pivot to, but there's going to be a smaller percentage of people that go that way. Like the people saying, well, I'm just not worried because I'm a welder or I do this or that. They're coming for those positions as well. So there's actually a robotics team that just launched that is a full engineering company in a box. They have the welder. They have all of the people on the team that are doing all of those things. BMW is assembling cars right now with robots. But these things are building in the background. Next year is going to be the year of bots. But if you can just imagine, just so everybody kind of has their head around, like what should we expect with this? First of all, it's kind of unknown, but it's not just the online that'll be affected. Just put your head around having a supercomputer that is able to read millions and millions of books and remember every single word inside of those books. And now put that supercomputer buddy that knows everything basically that's public information inside of a humanoid bot that has limbs, arms, hands, and feet. And imagine the capabilities of what can happen. That's where we're headed.
For a robot that doesn't get tired, doesn't get sick, right? Doesn't complain, doesn't need a coffee break, right?
Right.
All these different things, like the combination, they're way stronger, faster. They don't make mistakes the same way we do. They're not hungover, right? They didn't have a bad day. Their wife wasn't yelling at them. Like all of those things are true always at all times. The robot, there's no labor laws around the robot either, right?
Yeah.
24 hours or however long the battery life is. That's how long it can go, which is, I'll tell you, this seems scary to a lot of people. It seems exciting to you. What do you think the difference is? And how do we stay on the cutting edge so that we're somebody that's excited about it and not somebody that's worried about getting left behind?
Well, first of all, I think people should be worried, but you can do something about it. By the time that it's a big enough problem where we all need to worry, is actually a better position to be in than just a fraction of the people getting affected from this. And this is actually even the words of Dario Mode, who's the owner of Anthropic. He said, if we're all in the same boat, we're in a much better place because we have to do something. Like Dario that owns Anthropic, Elon Musk that owns XAI. A lot of these big guys believe that eventually, and I don't know when that day comes, we are moving to a universal income, which might get some people mad to hear him saying that, but it's just the reality of the guys behind the curtains that are running these big companies. That's their belief. And if you want to listen to the people that have theories and opinions and things that, really don't have an AI company, you can, or you can listen to the guys building this technology that know what it's really capable of and where we're going. So I don't know when that happens. I don't even know what we would do with our time in that case. But, I think as far as being scared or excited about all of this, it's just framing yourself that it's not going anywhere. So it is here to stay, and you have to latch onto it, be prepared, and make a positive out of it because it's going to be here anyway. The people that are just, looking at it as I'm not going to get into any AI because it is going to cause problems for whatever. I don't want to contribute to that. They're going to be the ones that get hurt the most. So you got to almost just grasp this thing and ride it because it is going to come for jobs. It is going to change everything, and nobody's really immune to it. The AI right now has better bedside manners and diagnosis for patients on almost every test than real doctors. And so you even take Neuralink, where they're putting implants in people's brains to make it so they're not paralyzed anymore, or they can start to see again. And they're going to start changing a lot of things that way. They don't have a real surgeon that's doing those implants. That's literally a robot because a surgeon doesn't have a steady enough hand to make the surgery go well. So it's already happening. It's just a lot of people don't know.
Yeah.
So again, yes, it's scary. I mean, yes, there's scary things with it. I mean, you think about it, what's creating these machines and like this technology are humans. And, we have things like wars and stuff that still happen to this day, unfortunately. So in the wrong hands, it could be a very dangerous thing. But at the same time, we need to really focus on the optimistic side of it because, like I said before, it isn't going anywhere. So how do we use it to our benefit and be happy with AI rather than look past it? Because the people that are going to put off AI just because they are scared of it, those are the people that are going to be affected the most. You have to jump on this train or you're going to get left behind. I mean, that's my personal opinion, but I think it's shared with many, especially the ones that really get deep dived into this. There isn't going to be an industry that's untouched. You're all going to feel it. And it's called, kind of the AGI of this, which is kind of a loose term that used. You really got to specify what that actually means, which is artificial general intelligence. But everybody's going to feel that AGI at a different moment. So you're going to have people that say it's not here. And then you're going to have people that already believe it's here and their industries being affected that see it. So I think there's not really a day that we all say AGI arrived. There's a day that we all feel AGI in our own way. So
yeah. Define what AGI means.
AGI is artificial general intelligence. When we reach that day, AI is going to be smarter than all human beings combined. So whatever you think that it can't do is just going out the window. Like right now, AI does one thing very, very well. So you can train AI to do a specific task. It's starting to do multitask. There's like browser agents like Manus and things that are rolling out that people are really excited about. But typically speaking, AI does one thing really, really well. When we hit AGI, it's just going to be able to complete tasks better than a human being. It's going to be smarter than us. And then you put a humanoid robot machine behind it that can function, move, and act just like us. I don't know if anybody's seen it because it just released over the last couple of days, but they literally had like a Tesla bot, like tap dancing around, like dancing like a human being. You can see when you see that stuff, like, man, if that thing's smarter than me, wow.
Yeah.
What is
It's like, where's our edge at that point? Right.
Yeah. And so who knows when it comes? You know, like guys like I mentioned, like Dario believes AGI is coming in the next year or two. The owner of Google, same in the next few years. A lot of the experts, you know, OpenAI previously had said that they believe it'll come out in the next couple of years. So it just kind of depends. Those timelines kind of bounce around. Sometimes you'll hear 10, sometimes you'll hear next year. I don't know what's going to happen. Like I've kind of quoted that I feel like it's going to happen in the next year. I don't know like why. It's just everything that I've seen and how fast it's growing. Every time I get in a debate on this, like when does AGI come? It's like I'm debating with somebody that's completely looking at what AI is right now publicly. And I commonly just say, like, I would agree with you if I thought that way, but I don't. I feel like whatever we have is not even close to what's behind the curtains right now.
For sure.
Go
I
ahead.
hear those comments from those guys. It's like we're seeing like the part above the water on the iceberg, and we have no idea what's going on below it. It's kind of like most people didn't know that ChatGPT was about to release, and then it just released and changed the world, right? And it's just like that wasn't built overnight. That was built over years. And like Google and some of these other platforms were taking advantage of AI for a long time before it was shared with us. So like, what are they not sharing?
I don't know. And some of it, quite frankly, we might never find out. It could be more profitable to not release it to the public.
Right.
Like imagine there was rumors, all the crazy stock trading things that just happened were not human. So like it was performed by like robot, you know, AI. I don't know, but like you got to think, even with stocks like that, if you had something that was smarter than all humans combined, you think there might be a little money in that for somebody, you know?
Perhaps. Like, yeah. Yeah.
So
From my perspective, one of the big strengths that AI has over humans is data analysis, right? And if you look at where is money tied to data analysis, I mean, it's all over the place, but particularly in the stock market. So it seems naive at this point to believe that there's not some super AI stuff that's making moves and predicting the market better than humans ever have been able to.
yeah, AI is very, very good with fielding data. No matter what industry you're in, you know, I like literally just recently taught a group of real estate investors. And while I've bought and sold houses before, I'm not a professional real estate investor, but this stuff can be applied anywhere. And one of the use cases that we were talking about is just dropping the entire MLS data of their area into AI and letting it zero in to tell you, like, based on facts, taking out all the risk. Like, if you buy a house on this street, that thing's going to sell the next day, you know?
Right.
Because it can weed through every data point imaginable in seconds with huge data sets. And people did that forever. They were researching all the MLS data, trying to figure out what does this information tell me? So whether it's that, it's your, you know, your financial stuff, your customer base on what products that they buy, and like what they escalate to after that the most, like putting massive amounts of data in AI is just game changer for a company.
For
And that,
sure.
coupling that with like automations is even more powerful. So instead of just doing it one time, you can create almost any system now. I personally stick with push button AI. So like all the stuff that I do is rather easy. And I'm having fun with it. My line is if I can't push a button or it's not fun, I want somebody else to do it. But the difference between like now and like even just a year ago, I'd say maybe 2 years ago, but before it cost so much money and time to build anything like a app or whatever you wanted to build. There was a lot that went behind it. Now I can get that same stuff done in less than a week for a fraction of the cost. Like the vibe coders and people out there that are able to just, the tools are writing most of the code now. Like even Anthropic, we were talking about, who runs Claude, one of the biggest rivals to OpenAI. They literally just said that 80 to 90% of Anthropic's code is written by AI,
Wow.
which is absolutely nuts.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, Claude is amazing at writing code. But the kind of things that you can get done now, it opened up the doors to something that we didn't have. So
Right.
like if you can dream it now, you could always dream it and build it, but financially, in the time slot, like it didn't make it feasible for most people. Now, almost anybody can build something that they dream about, and it's affordable and it can get done at rather quickly. So
That's amazing. Brian, I want to give people more context of who you are. If you could just briefly mention some of the background things that you've done that led you here. I know that you're a loophole guy, and like AI is this, it's the ultimate loophole for, it's kind of like the ultimate hack for getting things done faster, quicker, better. But if you could just kind of tell us, just like very high level, some of the things that led you to this, and then I'd love to hear like what you're focused on now.
it was a long journey, but let's go back to when I moved to Florida. So I moved to Florida, and that boss ended up that I was working as a assistant manager in my early 20s at a call center, and she moved down and started at a call center down here. And the call center just happened to be a gentleman named Ron LeGrand, who is a massive voice in the real estate investing teaching space. He's called the Godfather of real estate. He's been around for many years. He's trained most of the trainers. I didn't know anything about real estate. I didn't know anything about information marketing. I didn't know anything about any of it. I'm in my early 20s, really just trying to climb up the corporate ladder. And my first day, like I was just trying to figure out, like, how do I sell this guy's stuff? Like, I actually went from being a manager to just on the phone, because she's like, man, you can make six figures on the phone here. This is back in 2000. I'm like 21 years old. And I'm like, heck yeah, that's crazy. I always wanted to make $100,000, and that number obviously always just keeps going up for us, right? Never seems to be high enough. So yeah, I started working there, and what I started to look at after maybe the first couple months or so, I'm like, who is this guy paying attention to? Like, this guy's brilliant. He's got all these people that look up to him. Who's he really paying attention to himself? Because he's built this massive thing. He's on TV, like just an incredible company. And I started looking into guys like Dan Kennedy and Gary Halbert and some of the direct response marketing legends at the time. Before you knew it, he kind of started to understand, I'm catching on to this stuff. Like, I'm really understanding marketing, and I'm flying out with him to go into Dan Kennedy's house and spend time with some of these marketing legends. And I'm getting trained by the best marketers that ever lived. And so I really got into the marketing side. At first it was the real estate, because I'm like, oh, this is crazy. You can buy and sell houses without money and credit. So I went out and did it. But I just realized, like, that side really wasn't for me. What really interested me was the marketing side. And what that did for me is opened up a door that will never be shut. When I latched onto marketing, I realized I could do anything, and it's always going to be my passion, because the lead generation and like growing that business, no matter what it was, I'm doing what I love, which is generating leads. So I created business I knew nothing about. My first massive company, I grew one of the biggest engine and transmission companies in North America for used parts, and I didn't even know how to change my own oil. So I just realized that this is back when the real estate crash happened, back in 2000, I don't even know now, 7 or something?
2008, 2009.
2008, 9. Yeah, it was right when I was just starting. I knew people weren't buying new cars. They were fixing the ones that they had. So I'm like, man, I bet you I could sell to the affluent crowd. Was another thing I learned from Kennedy. And then one of the things that I learned from Halbert was find a starving crowd. So I'm like, these guys like want to buy an engine, not a new car. So I'm going to start with BMW engines. And I did. I created a BMW engines for sale website. And I'm like, why am I stuck on BMW? Let's sell all of them. And then I'm like, let's do transmissions. Let's do turbos. Let's do transfer cases. I kept growing it. And because I was specifically selling used parts with that company, um, it became a nightmare. They were selling dreams to me and shipping nightmares to my customers. I had a lot of customer service because I was the one taking the credit cards. Um, and it wasn't for me. I could have kept doing it. We grew a massive company out of it. I'm like, what I really do well is lead generation. So I just proved to myself that I got into an industry that was nothing about anything I knew. I knew nothing about cars, and I grew it to one of the biggest in the United States. Let's do this again. And so I grew a business with hot sauce. I grew a business with stone machinery. I got up 300 different websites, and I got highly into SEO, which I think Patric knows a few things about. One of the best. And so that really, I took a liking to that. And so I started realizing what I'm going to do from now on is not get stuck in the weeds trying to build these businesses. I'm going to build lead machines. And so what I started to do is I would build up these sites and I would control them. I own the domain, and I would go in and sell the leads to the business owners. And a model again, like you have the perfect solution for this. But that was how I grew really, really big, as I started building websites and controlling the income. And so my pitch, I don't even actually know exactly how you tell people to do this, but I was different where I didn't have a contract and I didn't ask for any money up front. I just told if I knew, like, if I could get this crowd, I could not only do SEO, but I could do paid traffic too. And I'm just going to obliterate everybody in it because I had SEMrush and all these different tools at the time. And I was going into industries that were way behind, like used auto parts, for example. And so when I came in, everybody's like, who in the hell is this guy? Like, he's like a nobody. And now, like, he's just smashing us right now.
Taking over the market all of a sudden.
And I just kept doing that. So I would contact them, and what would happen is I became such an important factor in their company, because like no business owner wants to say no when somebody calls up and says, hey, I'll build the site for free and everything. All you got to do is pay me for performance. You got to pay me for the leads. Yeah. And so it's an easy yes. But once the things get ramped up, then they're like, oh crap, like I'm hiring staff, I'm building my operations, I have all these other costs. What am I going to do without Brian? He owns the site, which is exactly the position you want to be in. And so I realized if I own the customers, I own the keys. And at that point, I knew I was never going to have a problem again, because I'm building something that if they stop paying, I wouldn't just take it away. If somebody offered me more money, I wasn't the type of guy that was going to say, sorry, Charlie, right, somebody offer me more money. But if they stop paying, I would just tell another guy, hey, would you be open to trying these leads for a week and let me know what you think? And even at the end of the week, if they were like on the fence, like maybe nothing closed or something, it just seemed from my experience that they would rather keep it than let me give it to their competitor.
Right.
It wasn't a hard pitch for me. I was just like, if you don't want this, that's okay. I'm going to go to the next guy, but I wanted to make sure it's already going to you. It's going to create work for me to point it over to somebody else.
You give them a taste and it's kind of like the whole conversation, the whole dynamic changes. So I want to fast forward because I just wanted people to know where you came from and your experience and the way that you view the world, right? So what are you focused on now? We've gone into AI a little bit, but how are you using that? And like, what are you doing? Like you've got a mastermind, you're teaching. Explain to us what this all turned into.
Yeah. Well, a good friend of mine, one of my best friends and business partners, Francis, contacted me during the growth of all that stuff that we just talked about. And he said, Brian, what do you think about teaching this stuff? I was like, man, nobody's going to want to listen to me. Like, and quite frankly, it scared me tremendously to get on a stage. I'm still not that great of a speaker, by the way, but I was like, heck, if you think they're going to like it, let's give it a shot. So we started teaching internet marketing. So that's how like it started, as me teaching people what I was doing. And it just flourished. Like we've always been training since then. So Francis and I have been business partners since, we started the actual training company back in 2015, I think, is when we legitimately like, let's do this. Before that, we were speaking and doing other stuff together with other people's stages. But actually, you know what? It wasn't 2015. It was probably 2010. I'm losing, but man, we've been working together for 15 years now. So yeah, we started teaching. And so we were always teaching lead generation. We were always teaching this kind of stuff. When AI came along, it was like, this just makes all this stuff easier. The thing that you'll see is there's a lot of people teaching AI, but a lot of those people don't know anything about direct response marketing or sales. So AI is only going to get you so far right now. That's going to, I'll eat my words in a year from now because it can just do everything at some point. But right now, like intertwining it with sales and marketing is how you get the perfect trifecta. Like people just slinging like AI training out there, it's good, but a lot of them don't even really know how to create a real business. And so like understanding the dynamics of how marketing and sales combine with AI is really the ultimate. That's what's going to make you sale. And so all AI has really done for us is enhanced what we've always done. Is it increased and helped us leverage marketing and sales better. So both of those departments are how we use it the most. We use it for helping out with our content. We use it for helping out with our emails. We use it for helping out scanning our sales calls and telling us what our sales guys can do better on the sales floor. We use it for a lot of different things in the company. I think probably one of the things that most people could use it more for is the content. And SEO side, arguably, you might want to change it up a little bit here and there and make some edits. I think where people get AI wrong, especially from the content side, is they're just trying to use it out of the box. Like if you really want AI to work and be a voice that converts and you're not just putting out more repetitive content, you got to put your personality into it. So like one of the things we train people is to make it sound just like them. So now you're using your supercomputer buddy that basically knows everything, but instead of sounding like AI and using AI words like delve into this topic and stuff like that, it actually sounds like Brian or it sounds like Francis, where there's no way to distinguish, including the search engines. So they have a hard time really figuring out, is this AI or is it not?
How do you do that? Like we've trained on this inside of our coaching program, Rank Masters, where you and Francis came and spoke at one of our events, which was amazing. That you guys blew everyone away. We've trained this. We call it the second brain. But I'd love to hear how you guys are doing. Like, how are you guys making it sound like Brian?
So it's a little bit hard to go through the entire process on a podcast, but one of the things that we do is we have the people that are part of our group, we give them 100 questions to answer. So they go through 100 different questions, and then we go out and scrape like their audience. So like all the reviews, everything people are saying, so that the AI is not just trained on just our voice, it's trained on the industry and what the buyers want. So we use it for competitive intelligence, and we'll take like all the best stuff out there we believe is working well based on our tools. We take the customer insights, like all the reviews and things people are saying in that industry of the wants and needs and things that they feel that are lacking based on stuff on Amazon and books and all different types of things. And then we also combine our personality. So there's really those three things: is we're training it on our audience, we're training it on our personality, and then we're training it on our competitors. And we're taking all of that together to make it better with 100 different question points. So it really knows us at a deep level. Because like the thing is with especially the selling side, but the content too, people don't buy into just like facts. Like they do, and there's news, but like what they really want is personality. They want to connect with somebody that they feel that connection with, and they can relate. And you can't do that without telling stories and making examples of like this time in my life and those kind of things. And the AI can't do that unless it's filled with a bunch of information about you and who you are. And it also has a hard time understanding how to speak to your audience without knowing who that audience is.
Right.
So we try to bring all that stuff in so it cleverly can speak like us and speak and tell stories and all that kind of stuff, but also understand the customer audience emotional state and what it needs to say in order to drive those people to a sale and an action. Which even if it's just blogs, like I want it to have purpose. So I want the traffic to the site. So we want to take that into factor, but we also want that traffic to turn into more customers.
Right. Brian, so much of what we're doing now has shifted in the last year, right? Like I use ChatGPT more than Google now. And even, I was looking at some speaker recommendations for like in-ceiling speakers on my house. The way it used to be, I would go to Amazon and I would like search and read the reviews. Now I'm just asking ChatGPT and I'm like, ask me questions, please make recommendations. And then I go and I like just purchase without even doing this. So it's not just about the traffic to our website, right? It's also like, there's almost like a new breed of SEO where we want to rank better inside of things like ChatGPT or Claude, where it's making recommendations, Perplexity for us. So for someone with a marketing background, how are you addressing that part of it? It's not just what we load on the website anymore, right?
Correct. So for one, I do that too. I'm a very analytical guy. So even though I could like buy every option that I wanted, if I really wanted to, like if I have like a $20 item on Amazon, I'll spend forever looking at reviews historically. I just always wanted to make sure I'm getting the best item. And it's the problem that I have. Like you said, I use AI for that now. As far as like kind of the hopping around, like using this tool and that tool and Perplexity and Claude and different things, um, we have a free 3-day event that's held virtually. We hold it every 2-3 weeks or so. And the common thing that everybody kept saying is, you went over like 100 different tools. Blew me away, amazing. But like, which ones do I start with? And based on that always being like the number one thing that everybody said, and the fact that I had all these tabs open and all these subscriptions to everything, we started to build a tool that encompassed all of the things that we use daily. So like we have our own app that we use that has Perplexity inside it. So it can do the deep research and all that stuff. It also has Grok and GPT and Claude and all that stuff. And I can switch models in the same thread. So instead of me going and copying and pasting and doing that kind of stuff, like you were mentioning, like I would just do it right inside of our tool. Like the knowledge base side of training it to speak like us, I actually have a knowledge base where I can change that from mine to a client. Like I can have 100 of them, and I just pick the voice that I want to speak in. All uses the exact same A to Z setup, but they're all a different voice. So I'd have my voice, I'd have my business partner Francis's voice. If you have an agency, you have all your agency client voices, and you just click the one that you want to speak with, and then you write your stuff. I added in like all the best image tools. So I have Ideogram, I have Flux Ultra, and I have 4.0, the image generation with ChatGPT. So while we're in there creating the content, we also can create the images for the stuff. And so my solution now to all these tools is I'm just like, do they have an API? You know, and there's been some that we couldn't get in there. Like recently, a lot of people love HeyGen just because of the novelty of it. We were this close to having it in, and I realized people would have to create their avatar inside of HeyGen and then use our tool. I'm like, this is getting too confusing. The idea was to keep it simple.
Right. Right.
That's our solution to any problem now, is like, as far as like what tool to use, we just find the best ones and we put it into our app. And going back to what I said earlier, we're living in a world where building apps are easy. So like adding that in, example, like you mentioned Google 2.5 Pro, the day it came out, it was in our app. The 4.0 image that basically changed everything. Creating images inside of ChatGPT right now is just wild. The amount of text you can have and how everything's spelled right, it's just insane. The same day it came out, the API, which wasn't the same day it launched, but it was, I don't know, maybe a week or so after, it's in our app. And so that's how fast the team can put that stuff in, which, you know, if you break it down to how much does that cost me, it's like probably less than $100 to add a feature like that.
Wow. It's crazy. Brian, for all the agency owners that are out there listening, and you've got this context from running this SEO agency, doing a lot of marketing, what percentage of the work that you used to do can now be done by AI? Like how has that shifted, and like, where does it fit in for somebody that is maybe still doing a lot of things the old way?
Well, it does depend on what it is that you're referring to. Because like AI cannot do everything right now, but if it can be done online, if there's not a tool, you can almost create everything. Like it's
Right.
just a matter of finding somebody to build it. If I had to take a guess on the percentage of workload that we've cut down as a company since bringing on AI, it would have to be at least somewhere around an 80% range. Just because a lot of the stuff, and at least in our industry, holding you back is the content side, like the landing pages and the emails, and like some of the stuff that was so like easy to do. It wasn't a matter of does it work, like having follow-up sequences and stuff like that. Of course it works. And it's like gravy money because you already spent the money to get the customer in. but it took work. You had to think of how you're going to write that stuff, like what you're going to do. Now just popping that kind of stuff out, having full blown follow up systems, being able to get a landing page up in a day, a script for a VSL or a sales letter, those things could take up to months before trying to tweak it in. Now we can carry the same load in a day. So yeah, it's I don't know exactly what that percentage is, but I would assume it's high. It's got to be at least 80%. Just watching like how fast we're doing stuff now. And there's some things that I'm going to even forget about that we've just been able to automate that just happen autonomously without us having to do anything anymore. That prior, like our customer service, for example, we have a bot fielding them. And so like it's filled with all the FAQs and like objections and things like that where it knows what to say. It's not anything like everybody's heard of it. We use Intercom, but just the being able to handle customer service like that autonomously is insane. We have another bot that we use, CloseBot, that we use for different stuff. So that would be to get people live on our webinars. It dramatically increased the show rate. The thing with bots, you said it earlier. So they don't sleep. They work on a dime. If they're not working properly, it's because of the way you have them programmed. So if they're saying something wrong, it's because you got to fix that and make them say whatever it is that's right, but they're having personalized conversations that are not the same. They're based on the conversation they're in, all at the exact same time. So my bot can be out there having thousands of different conversations without missing a beat with multiple people, which would be impossible for us to do. And so if we looked at like, what would it take our team to do what the bots are doing right now? I can't even imagine. But getting them to show up to webinars, tapping into them, asking them how the webinars are going during the webinar, doing follow-up to have them buy. What did you think about the training? Did you end up getting the package? Why not? Here's the link if you still want to buy it. Did you need to talk to somebody instead? Let me get somebody on the phone to speak with you. We don't really use it to sell high ticket, although you could. I think there's still a place where bots kind of do lack empathy and like some type of, I don't know if it'll probably take over some of those things that it lacks right now. But I still feel like if we're going to sell something over $1,000, I probably want somebody on the phone talking to them. Yeah. But the bot can sure line that stuff up and make sure that we're getting to the people faster. Because the problem before is you got a sales floor that doesn't want to weed through all those leads because they're just trying to cherry pick, especially when you got commission-based people. They don't want to call through everything trying to find who's interested. Now all they have to do is talk to people that are interested. So yeah, completely different game.
Right. Man, it's like this conversation could go on for hours and hours on the ways that we can and will use AI and automations. Brian, tell us a little bit more about you're running a training program. You've been training for essentially 15 years so far. You're obviously teaching with AI. I think you have 2 different masterminds. Can you just give us a little bit of information on that?
Yeah. So we have the first place where everybody usually finds us is our 3-day event that's free. So because we understand, like I'm skeptical of anything right now, just because like everybody's trying to sell stuff right all the time.
Right.
And we made it free just to kind of break down that barrier. But at the same time, it's like people expect to go into our free event where we're selling the whole time. They're like, holy crap, this was 3 days filled with education. Which we're very transparent. Like right out of the beginning, we're like, this is not a pitch fest. It's not a pitch-a-thon. And we are going to tell you about something, but it's going to be for 20 minutes out of this entire 3 days. Is that fair for you guys? And we asked their permission. But that event is where people typically find us. That's events.aiforbusiness.com. When people decide that they want to move forward into the next step with us, as you're referring to, they might want more handholding and more help. They would go into our either Real 360. The Real 360 Mastermind is for all business owners. So we have everybody from car upholstery all the way up to platform professional speakers that close from the stage and travel the world speaking. That group is really just to dig into your business and how we can help get past the hurdles. Basically, in a mastermind, you're there to solve the problems of what's holding you back from getting where you're trying to go. And the thing is that mastermind is not just AI. And that kind of goes back to what does separate us a lot is we're not just teaching AI, we're teaching AI marketing and sales. So during that, I would say we actually talk more about marketing than we do about AI. But AI's leverage is how can we do marketing better?
Right.
So the real 360 is for just any kind of business owner that wants to go next level. We have calls every week helping business owners out. The A3, our other program, is for people that literally want to be an AI influencer. So we made it easy for them by being able to just private label everything that we do. So they get the presentations from our event. They get all of our newsletters that go out every week that they can rewrite for their own company, slap into AI and just say, rewrite this with my company and name. They get our help building the brand. They get their own funnel that goes into our event with their face on it, that they can build their list. And some of them don't choose to actually build themselves as an actual AI influencer. They just want to resell us and let us do all the work. So, and that's fine too. Some of them are doing both. But A3 is more of people that want to be like an AI influencer. We give them everything that they need to blast off and not have to create it all on their own. So
Yeah, this is fantastic. So Brian, I know we only got a couple minutes left here. You have built up using AI and automations a marketing group or a group teaching business owners. There's a lot of agencies out there, and one of their biggest struggles is always like, how do I connect with business owners? What should people be taking advantage of to maybe reach an audience that's similar to the first mastermind group, where it's filled up with from car upholstery to, professional speakers?
like how did lead gen? Is that what
Yeah. Like I guess that's the way, the question I'm really trying to ask is, how are you using AI for lead gen? And you've mentioned some of the stuff with follow-up, and you've got the free group. How are you getting people into the group? And what would you do if you were a marketing agency, perhaps a niche down marketing agency now, to have better lead gen?
So the Facebook group is a combination of organic and paid. So it's AI for Business is the group. That one I've just been posting every day for over a year, and it just kind of started its own life. And it's not massive, but we got like 35,000 followers, which is considerable, I guess, in a year. When people sign up for the 3-day event, we invite them there during the event. So we also get that. As far as like lead generation, AI might not be the tool for some people for this. It just kind of depends on what your business is. Some of it, AI is the tool that you leverage to create the ads, whether that's video ads or creating ads inside of ChatGPT. For those that haven't used 4.0 image generation, it's insane. Some people just get stuck. Like they're like, I don't know how to create an ad. Like you never have to be stuck with AI. I asked ChatGPT, give me some great ideas. I'm trying to fill this event with ads. Give me some killer ads that I could use. Like, give me some ideas. Make them funny. And I get a list of like 5 different ideas from ChatGPT, and then I say, make number 3. I love those, but let's do number 3, and I have it created. So from beginning to end, I get the ad. For videos, there's all kinds of tools like HeyGen and Higgsfield and really fun videos to use on just getting a straight lead, like AI doing all the work. You're limited on the amount of things that can do that. One thing that just comes to mind that we do is we scour LinkedIn. So if you're dealing with a specific type of business owner, our tool that we use is heyreach.io. You can probably find other ones out there. So if you're looking for like super inexpensive, AppSumo is a great place to find tools that can probably do the same thing. I got HeyReach on AppSumo when it first launched, by the way, a long, long time ago. But basically tools like HeyReach, it's not the only one that does it. They'll go out and find my crowd. So they would find like all the realtors. If I was targeting realtors, they scrape the list of all of the realtors. They go out and ask them to be friends and like some of their content, and then they'll send them a message autonomously. So it's continuing to work for me. What makes it different than a lot of the stuff like Expandy and some of the other like more popular AI tools is I can add accounts. So when I put a campaign in there and I'm giving something away, I don't suggest selling something on LinkedIn because everybody is. And also it's like this thing where it's a snowball effect. Not everybody's going to see your message the same day. They might not log in for 6 months from now. So you just got to keep sending and sending and sending. HeyReach allows you to stack accounts. So when I run a campaign, it's got my account, it's got Domar's account, it's got Francis' account, it's got Richard's account, it's got everybody's accounts in there. So we can send 10,000 messages a day without us doing anything. And luckily, like I said, I did an AppSumo deal, so I never pay for that. It's just always running. It's always inviting people to our event that's free, and it just keeps running and running and running.
Wow.
So
Yeah, that's brilliant. That's brilliant.
yeah,
You know, I know that we've got kind of like a little bit of a hard stop here. You've given us a ton to think about. There's a lot of strategies and stuff that you've mentioned. You what's the best way? And I think like, hey, maybe joining the Facebook group. What's the best way for someone to like come into your world that's listening to this right now?
yeah, I would say there's two things to do. One, definitely join the Facebook group. It's AI for Business. You find Brian Hanson in there. I don't know if there's other ones called AI for Business. We're somewhere around 35,000, 33,000. I don't know where we're at right now. But that is one thing to do, and it's free. I post about 5 times a day. And then we also have the free 3-day event. So it's you can go to events.aiforbusiness.com, and yeah, it's just packed with 3 days of pretty amazing information. Like I honestly, it's hard to like tell you like what people feel about it without it sounding like I'm sitting there pushing my event, because like I've never seen reviews like this.
Yeah.
We don't get bad reviews. Like they literally go back to the ad on Facebook, which I never really see people do that. You get a handful. I have like about 1,000 comments on our main ad of just people saying how amazing the event was on an ad. They like, I don't know if they've seen it pop up in their feed again, but I don't typically see that. They'll send us a comment.
Right. Right.
Yeah, it's a great event. If you want to learn more, it doesn't cost anything. Like I said, it's not 3 days of us pitching you stuff. It's good stuff.
Yeah. It's kind of like unheard of the way that you're approaching this, right? Where it's like free and give value and not pitch. And like, that's confusing. So Brian, we're at the end here. Any final thoughts that you want to leave our listeners with?
Yeah, just ending on that note, because of what we were just talking about, whatever business you think you're in, you're not in that business first. You are in that business, but you're in the trust business. And everybody's looking for a way to like understand, who can I trust? So just keep that in mind with whatever you're doing, whatever you're selling, that people have a hard time deciding like, who can I trust? I don't know what kind of businesses you do. The reason we did a free 3-day event, which is a lot of work to do when you're not even getting paying people, is because of that. So how are you going to break through that and make people understand that they've found the place that they should be, that the grass was greener on the other side, before you start asking for the money? That's like, even on LinkedIn, that's why I said I don't sell them. I give them something for free. So like, what could you give the people on LinkedIn? Like a free audit on their website for SEO, or like whatever it is, try to give first and you'll get way more back later. People like will buck up against that because like they want to make money. But I promise you, if you spend more time giving, it comes back. And so that's what I would leave it with.
I love it. It's worked really well for me too. Just like lead with value and see how the chips fall. Right. So, Brian, I just want to say thank you. I know you're a busy guy. I know you got a lot of stuff coming on. So thank you for spending some time with us today and sharing some of your brilliance. And, you know, I highly recommend that you jump into some of Brian's groups. So really appreciate you, Brian. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me on, Patrick. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. I can't wait we just need some one-on-one time. This guy's
Let's do it.
Yeah, if you guys are not part of Patric's group yet, I know this podcast goes out to many people. You need to be listening to this guy. He is absolutely brilliant, has amazing software, but one of the best SEO minds I've met. So thank you so much for having me on, Patrick. I really appreciate you today.
Yeah, I appreciate you too. Thank you so much, Brian.